Welcome to Create Wealth Through Franchising. I'm your host, Kim Daly. Whether you're a CEO, a military vet, a real estate investor, or simply in career transition and ready to take ownership of your future, with each episode, you're going to learn valuable insights and hear inspiring stories from within the franchise industry. On that note, my guest stories are their own, and as a franchise consultant, I do not make personal brand endorsements or earnings claims, but I do educate, motivate, and inspire dreams. Now, on to the show. Welcome back to Kim Daly TV. We have a different kind of guest for you all today. Who out there, business owner or non-business owner, worries about being able to find the right customer and enough of those customers? Oh, come on, everybody out there does, right? It's a limiting factor to growing your business. Once you master customer acquisition, you really know how to be in control of your business. And so many people that I meet are so afraid of sales. They're so afraid of having to put themselves out there and prospect and learn marketing. But to the extent that you learn it is the extent to which you own your business. As Kim Daly says, if a franchisor gives you all of the leads that you ever wanted, that's like giving you a fish. But if they teach you how to find your own leads, that's like teaching you to fish. And what's that old Chinese expression? Give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and feed him for life. I think Lao Tzu said that, and I sound very wise right now. Anyway, let me introduce my guest. His name is Joe DeMarco. Joe is the co-founder and CEO of a company called Sales Rev. And Sales Rev works with membership-based businesses to help them find their customers. So Joe, this is going to be the most watched episode on Kim Daly TV and Create Wealth Through Franchising podcast. Welcome to my studio. We are so excited to learn about Sales Rev.
Kim, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So great. So why don't you tell your story? I'll just say this leading into it, that it's fun when necessity is the mother of invention, right? And sometimes you own a business and you're sitting there over and over and over, like in the daily grind, trying to solve the problem of the business. And once you master it, you're like, this itself is a business. And I think that's about what Joe's going to tell us is his story. But on that note, Joe, tell my followers your story and how you co-founded this business called Sales Rev.
Sure, Kim, thank you. And you're absolutely right. We founded this business out of necessity. I got into the fitness space 13 years ago, owning my own. My wife and I, we started our own bar fitness business, and had no idea where we were going to take it. But then we had success, and we multiplied that to multiple locations. And then I wound up picking up a franchise as well to add to our portfolio of fitness. And I partnered up with another gentleman, my business partner now, Nick Sheehan. And we opened up our first franchise in Hoboken, New Jersey. It was a boutique fitness brand. And we basically had to learn on how to sell memberships in a market for boutique fitness. And we had great success with that. And fast forward, we expanded, and at one point we were the largest franchisee for that particular brand in the country. We had 15 locations. We were across 7 states, and it wasn't like a quick jump there. It was a slow and steady grow over the course of 3 years. And with each growth, we kind of learned how to manage the business differently, from living in the same town for the first location to going outside of that town within the state to going across state lines. And fast forward, then COVID hit, right? And the fitness industry got hit pretty hard, and we had
especially in New Jersey.
Yes, the Northeast got hit harder. Our Northeast studios got hit the hardest. But all that being said, is we just kept on powering on and figuring out how do we continue to push these businesses forward. And we also learned that the market changed on how we were selling memberships pre-COVID versus post-COVID. So we had a very small management team that oversaw all of these locations, and we would train and coach our individuals on how to sell memberships. But it wasn't working the way it used to work pre pandemic, and
Darn it.
we yes,
As business owners, why doesn't everything just stay the same? It would be so much easier.
yes. So here's the thing: is that we wound up coming up with a new process, and it really worked well. We basically honed in on a lot of that grind of working those leads, the leads that our digital marketing dollars or our grassroots efforts were generating, and figuring out how to work those leads in our sales process to get these individuals booked into a class, having them show up for the class, and then do our best to sell them a membership with the efforts of the people on the ground. And if we didn't do it on the ground, then our centralized location would then go in and close them remotely. And we got so many people reaching out to us from other businesses asking us for help that we were just like, this is we could offer these services to others, and like let's go for this. And the market showed us that there really is a market for it, that people are really looking for these services, and we figured out a way to serve these individuals.
Hey, Daily Coach fans, if you're loving this episode, please do me a quick favor and leave me a 5-star rating and a short review. Your feedback fuels my growth and rankings and shows others that this podcast is valuable. Now, back to the show.
You know why, Joe? Not to be all cynical, but because the vast majority of franchisees out there want somebody else to do it for them. Trust me, I know. I've spent 21 years over here helping to create these franchisees and bust that myth. But on the flip side, I get if you're a semi-absentee investor, you're maintaining a W-2 job, you own other businesses, and you bought a franchise to decrease the time factor and the learning curve, and you can have access to a vendor like SalesRev who can take on pre-grand opening and then after opening sales, there are people that are absolutely willing to pay for that. Number one, because I think it lowers their inhibition, like it makes people more bullish about moving forward, and it also, like, the faster you can jumpstart your business and get to this place of abundance in your mindset, the more relaxed people get, right? And then they can be open to learning. So I mean, what you're offering is so genius, which is why when Nick told me what you guys were doing, I was like, we have to get this on my podcast because of all the people that listen to this. Number one, I want you to understand, for the listener, that in franchising, there are resources like this to help you buy down those learning curves and get up that ramp up speed faster. But number two, to promote this specific company for those out there who may be listening, who have a membership-based business, and we'll give Joe the floor here in a minute to explain exactly what he does for you, but to know that this service exists so that you can reach out to him, because maybe he can come in and help you turn your business around. So Joe, on that note, why don't you share specifically when you come into a business, like, is it approved through the franchisor? Can you go directly to franchisees, and what do you specifically offer to them?
Yeah, so thank you. We go to the franchisors and the franchisees. A lot of times the franchisors are really happy to offer their franchisees our service, because it helps the franchisee succeed, which in turn helps the franchisor. We're taking what the franchisor is giving, their marketing, their promotions, etc. We're just executing really well, and we're helping the franchisee to execute. Just like a franchisee would sign on for, say, a digital marketing partner to work their Instagram and Facebook ads. They could do it themselves, or they could hire professionals to do it. This basically hiring us is to strengthen the return that they're spending for those leads that coming through their digital marketing. Our services, it's broken down into 3 categories. We do pre-sales, we do open studios, and then we also have a tech platform coming as well, which is the lightest option. And that was generated out of the need of seeing how we execute, and how some franchise brands don't have like a great lead management system or a way to reach customers. Text messaging is a very important part of the process. We do both text messaging and phone calls. We have sales reps across the country that hit the phones, but not everyone answers the phone. So we will continue calling people, but the combination of calling, leaving a voicemail, and text messaging is where we find success. The pre-sales customers that we have, a lot of times, if you're a brand new franchisee, you're learning the brand, you're building your studio, you're finding real estate space, all of the above. You're hiring staff. One of the wins that we see quite often as well is a franchisee doesn't want to hire a general manager too soon because they're paying a full-time salary when they really just need them right before they start. So we're a cheaper option in one sense that they'll have someone working those leads. It also allows the franchisee, we've seen this, that a big part of the struggle for franchisees, new franchisees, is that lead generation piece, doing those grassroots efforts and generating new leads to get an excitement about their brand. But then they have to work those leads. So they're doing everything. If they hire us, then they at least know everything they're doing to generate those leads are being worked. And we're going to be calling those people and texting them basically until they buy or until they tell us to go away. Right? And we see this. The success doesn't come in the first 5 calls. The success comes in call 6 to 12.
Isn't that hilarious?
So that's our pre-sales offer. Our open studio offer is similar with some added components. We really view ourselves as a partner, even though we're a vendor. We view ourselves as a partner to our customer, and we want your staff to know who we are. Right? This is teamwork. Right? We don't need the glory of the sale. We just need to know that if you're paying us, your membership sales are going up. So we're going to leverage every resource that we have, which is our own sales team, our own technology, but we're also going to resource the people that you hire that work on the ground. And we're going to train them on how to be part of that sales process. And the thing is, it's constant training for those individuals to get them to do it. We also know that the best time for someone to buy a membership is when they come in for that intro class, right, or that intro service, and they just experience it and they come out of it. So we're not there to do that. So that's why we coach our team to be there. But if they're not successful at what they do, at least you know that that person's not just walking out the door. They're going to be right back into the funnel, and we're going to be working that lead to either get them into a membership or get them back in for another shot.
Yeah. I know as you're talking, like people listening, their heads are like, if I could see you out there, your heads are imploding, right? Because you're like, wait, finding people to join my business is this hard? And I love what he said. The yes doesn't even come in the first 5 attempts, and 6 through 12. Like, this is what I tell so many of my candidates. Like, what most business owners are doing is right. They're just not doing enough of it, right? Whatever you're doing and you're like, my business is slow, well, 10x your effort, right? Because it's just what it takes to build a brand, even an experienced or big American brand. People think like, oh, I'm just going to open my doors and everybody's going to come in, right? No, like that's like the elite of the elite and the Chick-fil-A's of the world. But like I always say, even with Chick-fil-A, that business started like originally back in like the 1940s. Like, this is not an overnight sensation, right? This is years of franchisees executing to perfection to build a brand that today enjoys what they are enjoying at Chick-fil-A, right? So most of the brands I'm working with, haven't been around that long. And so we need systems, we need consistent execution, we need owners who understand no matter what business you're in, whether you're selling a fence or fitness, it's a sales process and it has to be executed consistently and in high volume. And you can't be afraid of rejection, right? The first no is where the sale begins. So I love it. I was just over here going, oh my God, this is like the best sales coaching like interview I've ever had. So it's so good. Thank you for the little moments for me to talk. So I have a question, and then I want you to continue on what you were saying, Joe. So who absorbs the cost of this? If you are you going directly to franchisors to be integrated, or is this always going to be paid for by the person who benefits from it, which is the franchisee?
We've actually seen both. So typically the franchisee pays for it, right? So you're going to pay us a flat rate per month, and we're going to do everything that we said earlier, right, in terms of working the sales. Some franchisors have hired us in 2 different scenarios. Some franchises, instead of hiring us, they make us an affiliated partner because they know that if their franchisees work with us, there's going to be more success. So they're not paying us, but they're guiding us to their franchisees, or guiding the franchise to us, excuse me. Separately, we have some franchisors that they don't necessarily know the sales process. They're also in their growth phase of learning about membership sales. So they'll hire us, and then we'll map out the entire sales process for that brand.
That second scenario is a little scary, Joe. But I'm glad that you're here to save the day.
Listen, it's great. I mean, we have several brands that we work with that they're doing so much great. They have a great brand. They have a great product or service, and they're growing, and they're selling franchise locations, but they haven't nailed down the sales process, right? Or they have pieces of it. The intro offer maybe is built, and that's working, but they haven't nailed down how to really turn. I like to give analogies. Turn the sales process from a slot machine into a gumball machine. And what I mean by that is, a slot machine, you put in a quarter, you put in the lead, and you pull the lever, and you hope a membership comes out, right? Whereas when you really refine the process, you could figure it out where, hey, I put in a quarter or I put in 2 quarters, I know one membership comes out. And now you can multiply that.
It's a math problem. Yeah. So you've just created the simple math problem, which a lot of my candidates know. I always break down the business to the very simplest math problem there is. So that's what I call my daily plan. For those of you who've worked with me, you can smile because you know what it is. And those of you who haven't, you should call me because we can talk about the daily plan. It's always a math problem. I love it. Once you stack the odds in your favor, you can win every single time. I love it. So as you go into different, I'm curious about this, as you go into different, like from a med spa, let's say, to a fitness boutique, are the objections to the sale the same? Like, are people the same, buyers the same, no matter what they're buying? Or do you have to adjust? I'm sure you have to adjust the language, but do you have to adjust to different objections from different types of customers? I'm just curious in general.
Yeah, that's a good question. The objections can be different based on the brand and the industry, but typically what we focus on is it's actually about building a relationship. So when the lead comes in, we have to build a relationship to gain their trust. And then what we do is what we train on is we transfer that trust through the process. So from the time the lead comes in and meets that the person working at the front desk, whether it be an hourly employee or the manager, they're building a relationship from the onset. And this is what we coach on, because as soon as we know, in one sense, we're being armed with the answers of the future objections.
Of course.
Okay. But it's building that relationship, and then they go through the process, whatever service that is being offered, whether it be a fitness class or a med spa. They're coming out and they just had hopefully they had a great service, and they're feeling great about it. And now it's about price presentation, and we prescribe a membership. It's not just like, here are the options. It's, hey, based on what you told me on the way in, we could get you into our business and serve you well with this pricing option. And then usually there's multiple different options, so you go up or down from there. But it's really about a prescription and just knowing the customer and giving them what is, in one sense, best for them, rather than doing what's best for the business, which sounds silly, but it really, indirectly, it is best for the business because you're selling a membership.
Yeah, because all businesses are here to serve people.
Hey, Daily Coach fans, if you're ready to begin your own journey to find the perfect franchise, please email me right now at inquire@kimdaly.tv. My services are totally free for you. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv. Now, back to the show.
So another ism from Kim Daly, my candidates know, I always say when you go through this process of exploring franchises, we're first building a bridge of trust. that ultimately leads to a bridge of belief, right? Once you get to that meet the team day. And this is exactly what Joe, see, sales is the same no matter what, right? Like the process is the same, even though we're all different and our objections for different things can be a little bit different. But I can see how, your objection may be a little bit different from one business to the other, but in general, like you said, objections just help you learn the next sales process. That was great. So, Joe, if somebody out there owns a business and they're struggling with their own lead gen and they want to reach out to you, where do they go to do that?
Sure, they could go right to our website. It's salesrev.com. That's Rev is with two V's, so salesrev, REVV.com. And they could just schedule an appointment with us. And one of my team members, one of my salespeople, will reach out to them and be careful. They're really good at sales.
Yeah, be ready for the sales process, guys and gals. Just kidding.
But and then we get a meeting scheduled. We will go through our entire deck to show you our list of services and how we could work with your business. And we have to make sure it's the right fit for us as well, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, we have to turn down clients, because what they really need to do is that they need to kind of focus on the lead generation. I tell clients sometimes that if there's not enough leads coming through the door, right, because they're not spending enough or the right dollars on marketing to generate those leads, or they're not doing the grassroots events, then it's not really useful to spend your dollars with us, because there's not enough to work. Mm-hmm. Go spend the dollars and get those leads generating, whether it be through digital marketing, like I said, grassroots events, or inwardly facing, just a process. And we could coach on this, on how to get referrals from your current customer base. Those are the three areas where you get lead gen. And you want to hit certain marks in terms of lead activity. And then you could talk to us in terms of, hey, we'll make sure that all those leads are being worked.
Yeah. So you got to like get up from crawling to walking before you can run, right? Like there's a process even to be ready for the process. It definitely makes sense. I mean, every single business owner out there needs what you're selling. I mean, let's be real. And I know that there's some cynics out there listening saying, but if I'm buying a franchise, why would I then have to go manage my own sales process, right? But that's for another conversation. And that's between Kim Daly and you if you are tripping over that. But the idea here is that there are these outside vendors that can come in to a franchise to aid in growing the entire business, because not having enough customers is why every single business fails, right? Like spin it positively, Kim. Having enough customers is what makes every single business successful. It cures everything that ails your business. You could be the worst at delivering customer experience. It wouldn't matter. If you had enough people in the front of your pipeline, it wouldn't matter. Now, obviously, you don't want to work that hard over time, right? But it was the thing that I figured out that took me from average performing to history making in 12 months, growing my business over 3.5 times revenue in 12 months. It wasn't due to skill. It was because I substantially grew the number of people I was working with. I changed the math problem, Joe, and a lot of it started falling my way. And then that corrected for everything that ailed my business, most especially my attitude. Right? Because when you're making money, other things can go wrong in your business, but you have way more patience, you have way more ambition to fix them, right? So if we can keep you business owners, we can keep your attitudes high and feeling abundant, then we can grow much stronger franchise systems. And who doesn't want that? The franchisee wants that. And of course, the franchisor wants that. So this is a win-win B2B solution. It's just so great. You know, the last thing I'll say is, look, this podcast that I'm doing and all of the social media marketing that Kim Daly does was an adaptation due to COVID. Because like you, Joe, what worked in my business in 2019 didn't work in 2020, right? And it didn't work in 2021. Every business had to adapt or die. And for those listeners who aren't yet business owners, this is part of like when you're exploring a franchise, why I say we're looking at who you're doing the business with, not what you're doing. Because what you're doing in a business, the widget, may have to change. but it's the leadership of that brand that identifies, oh, we need to change. It's the leadership that brings vendors like SalesRev in that helps you continue to grow. It's a dynamic environment as a business owner is what I'm saying. And you have to be nimble. Any place where it's like when I'm not very good at like playing ball games, and we do a lot of ball drills with my personal trainer, and I'm getting better at it, but I just never was a ball sport girl. And so my hand-eye coordination, not so good. But what I've learned is that if my feet are moving, I can catch the ball way better. If I'm flat-footed, I almost never can catch the ball. And it's the same thing in owning a business, right? The more nimble you are, the more you can adapt and twist and turn to what's happening in the economy and competition and in your business. But when you're flat-footed, you're stuck in what worked yesterday because you don't want to change, you're going to die. So hopefully for those out there, this has been a really inspiring episode to know, number one, if you're coming to franchising, that vendors like SalesRev exist. If you are in a membership-based business, to help you grow your business, get you out of the gate, teach you what you need to learn. And maybe one day you'll be smart enough to own it, and control it on your own. But if you are in a business and you're struggling, and to know that a franchisor could bring you a partner like this, or you could go directly to SalesRev to help you, turn on this engine and turn your business around. Look, he's available to you. I'm glad that I found him and I was able to bring him to the show today. Joe, thank you for being my special guest and introducing the world to SalesRev.
Kim, thank you so much. I really appreciated being on the show with you.
This is going to be good. All right. For those who are interested, go to SalesRev. That's SalesRev.com right now. And for anybody out there who's listening, who's just inspired to begin your journey to find the perfect franchise opportunity for you, you know that Kim Daly wants to be your girl. Please follow the email on the screen right now or reach directly out to inquire@kimdaly.tv. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv. And until next time, my name is Kim Daly, and I want to be your daily coach.
You can find more content just like this on my YouTube channel at kimdaly.tv. And if you're inspired to take the next step to explore franchises matched to you, please email me right now at inquire@kimdaly.tv. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv.